Hey. Hi everybody, how's it going? So in this one, I want to talk about the difference between love and the idea of love. So I realize in a lot of relationships, people think that they're in love when most of the time they are just in love with the idea of being in love or the idea of the person. So love is not an easy thing, it's not at all, and we usually right away fall hard. And what I'm talking about is when we've been together for a while and how that goes and how, you keep it going or not. The thing about it is, I have realized, is most people are just in love with the idea of love. And so they are in love with what they think love is, which is, I guess, the Hollywood flashy kind of thing of love. But I mean, with those stories, they never go past that point. It's always kind of like what fairy tale books usually do is they love, they're together, and then happily ever after. But things aren't like that. There's so much time in between where so many things happen, and it's just a roller coaster. And so first off, I think the biggest thing to know is the difference between actually being in love and being in love with the idea of love or the idea of that person. And so I'm going to explain to you what that is. In my first relationship, my boyfriend was very much in love with the idea of me, and he didn't actually love me as who I am. So what that means is, he had a perception of who I was, and he loved that perception of who he thought I was, but it wasn't actually me. And when it came into me being who I am, he was not encouraging, he didn't like it, and he didn't want me to be any part of who I actually was. He wanted me to be the version of me that he wanted me to be and who he thought I was. And that is what it means by being in love with the idea of me. So he sees me as this combination of whatever he does, and if I'm not that, he all of a sudden thinks that something's wrong with me, or that that's not me or who he fell for. But at the same time, not realizing that he is not allowing me to be who I am, and then not loving me or encouraging me to be who I am. And that is the major difference, because in my relationship today, we are very much our own people, and of course, in all relationships, sometimes you butt heads, but we love each other for who we are. And that is not an easy thing, to allow someone to be who they are, allowing yourself to be who you are, and then having that whole thing about love. But that is what true love is because you are being true to you, they are being true to themselves, and in that is true love. Now, the other thing about love is, when you first fall for someone, you very much have them on a pedestal, and faults and all, everything. You have them there until when you've been with someone for a while, their faults come in, and it just kind of, you're not sure anymore, and things change. But I see the relationship in phases. The first one is definitely year one, honeymoon phase. And if you last longer than that, amazing. I definitely had an amazingly long honeymoon phase, 6 years to be exact, and that was super amazing. But honeymoon phase, second year, is each person learning to be who they are in the relationship. Because in the first year, you're giving so much, and because you just fell into love, and you're just giving so much that you are not who you are normally in the relationship. And the second year, you're more comfortable in being in the relationship, that you start to become who you actually are again in the relationship. And then third year, I usually find that's when you see if you actually mix together. Can you be together as who you are? And then from there, that's when I usually say things are at the 3-year mark, but it can go longer. These are just guidelines, they're not set in stone, but that's how I normally find it. And from there you decide, are you with this person or are you not? Because that's when everything changes. Another thing to know is that in relationships, it doesn't just go like this. Relationships and everything in life very much goes like this. For some of the highest, you go that low, it's just a wave, and you ride it and you go with the flow. A big part is, are you guys teammates? To me, being teammates is one of the most important things. Can you guys work together? Because when everything aside, you strip away all of the lovey-dovey stuff, and let's say you're just in that butting heads phase. Can you guys still, let's say, work together? Or is it, can you not? It's just, you got to see what it leads you to. Not just that, if you can't, it's not the end of the world. You see what you can work together on. And that's kind of when you start grouping things too, is let's say this time you didn't work good together, this time you did. And then you worked not good together, and then you worked that many times good together, and then you just kind of decide from there, and you take and decide, is this a good one or not? Another thing to be weary of is to make sure you're not just settling. A lot of people are scared, and it makes sense. We are brought into this world where we feel like we need to be with somebody at a certain age, and then married and family and career and everything, all at this young time. And I feel like things are changing now. We're realizing more and more that we don't need to be like that. There's so many years of being grown up that, you can do it whenever you want. I mean, even biologically, I think you can. It's just, everything is our mind frame. And if you don't think you can, you're not going to be able to. Unless you're one of those people that can think you can't, even though your heart says you can. And so then that comes out, but that's also another topic for another day of discussion. And so if you are settling, or if you're just being comfortable, that is a big thing too, is because if you're unhappy, but you're staying in it because, you're scared of so many things that we are scared of, like being alone, or you're going to find someone you don't want to put in the time because you want to have a family. And then if you do that, it just ends up, there's so many things that are impacted on why we may stay and settle because of all of this stuff. But that's up to you then. Again, what is it that makes you happy? Are you okay living the rest of your life like that? Are you okay living many more years of your life like that, changing it down the road, going through the divorce, going through all of that? And if you are, you are. That's just, it's what you're comfortable with. For me, I never believed in one person for the rest of my life. I just didn't. I was raised where I was told to never get married and, to have kids, but not to get married because the kids are awesome, they said. But for me at the moment, I'm not into that at the moment. Not that I wouldn't want to. I love kids. They're amazing. But it's just like, for me, it's a lifetime commitment, and I'm not ready for a lifetime commitment. But about marriage and all that stuff, I'm not trying to say you shouldn't get married. Get married if you want to, but we take it so lightly now. We get divorced so easy. So, decide what you think about marriage. For me, I always, with what I grew up in and how no couple stayed together except for one, and theirs was even roller coaster, but they're still together. Another one, they separated and they're together again. So, and that's it. All the rest are not together. But that doesn't matter. So that's all the couples that I knew and grew up with. And I was raised to not get married because it just complicates things. And so I also believe that we didn't just have one soulmate. I believe that we had many soulmates depending on how we grew, because we grow and change as people. And if you feel like you're not supposed to change just because of your partner, I don't know if that's a good relationship either. I mean, if you're happy and you want to stay that way and they're happy, then yeah, fine, you guys are happy. But honestly, I feel we're meant here to, if we're changing, we change. Don't stump it, because then you're just not being true to who you are. Not just that, as if we don't change in 100 years. Obviously we do. Even less than 100 years. We change all the time. Our growth is, even our human bodies show how much we change. Everything in life changes. Nothing just stays as it is. Everything is evolving. We are evolving. Everything changes us. The things that impact us, that come into our lives, the things that we give out, everything is changing. And so we change as well. And as we grow, is your partner growing with you, or are they not? Are they stumping you from growth? Are they not wanting you to grow? Or are they wishing that you would grow too? And then you kind of see how that works together. Not just that, sometimes you do grow into love, and sometimes you grow out of love and grow in again and out again, or not. And it's just kind of the way it goes, and you got to figure out, what is it for you? That's the other thing though, is when you're loving someone too, make sure you love them for who they are and not your expectation of who you think they are. Are you really allowing them to be who they are, or are you upset at them because they're not your version of who you think they should be? That's also how you know, is that actual love? Are you actually loving that person for who they are? A thing about that as well is I think when we first get into love, we always see the potential in the person. And so, especially for women, I mean, it might be for guys, but I'm pretty sure, especially for women, I usually think guys generally take girls as they are and they just want girls to look a certain way. I mean, guys are a little bit more superficial and girls are a little bit more in depth. It doesn't make one more or worse than the other. It's just when it's combined, that's a solid team. And when I say that for a girl, I don't mean it has to be a girl and a guy. It could be a guy that's like a girl and a girl that's like a guy, because it's about the energy, you know, it's about the feminine energy and the male energy and how they come together. Because if you notice, in boy love and girl love, there still usually is a difference in their energy. One is more male, one is more feminine, one is more masculine, one's more feminine, and that's just the way it is. So I didn't believe in just one soulmate for your whole life. I mean, there are those, and those are amazing and great for you if you find each other. But at the same time, some people have more than one. And it's about where we wish to reach in life and about us deciding, are we loving ourselves enough to give us what it is we're looking for, or are we just making ourselves settle? And this comes back to soul lessons as well, because for some of us, we are meant to, you know, that lesson might be, you know, you settle all the time, are you not going to? And other lesson might be, you know, you jump all the time and maybe you should settle. So it's really up to what you decide your soul experiences to be. The thing about it is our souls do tell us, you know when you're not okay living what life you're living, and you know when you are. So you're gonna really have to, be honest with yourself. Are you happy going the way you are? Is your partner happy going the way they are? If you're happy, don't even question it. Just let it be. If you're happy, you know, you can question it too, because are you actually truly happy? I don't really want to pop anyone's bubble of happiness because that's not very nice. But where I'm trying to get to is true happiness, where it is real, where if you shake it, it still exists. Not if you know, if I do what I just said and then shake it, it's all gone and you're mad at me. That's not true happiness. Anyways, the thing about it is, don't worry. We all actually have somewhere out there for all of us. You know, there's so many times growing up for myself where when I was getting to know people, I realized how easy it is for someone to just fall in love with whoever if they got to know them. There's so many times where I just sat and got to know people and thought, you know, I really could love you if I got to know you even more, because just in this moment I can see that so much that is, you know, lovable. And I realized that, you know, people could just fall in love if they wanted, but they also can't force other people. There's just, it's really up to people who you want to love and not love and da-da-da-da. Because it is our mind frame. We can easily talk ourselves into loving someone or talk ourselves out of loving someone. Yeah, that doesn't make it sound very nice for love, does it? Okay.